Xin chào, chúc mừng năm mới. Tên tôi là Alicia và đây là Alicia Learns Vietnamese. We just got back from our trip over to Hue. We actually went all the way up to Lao Bao, to the border of Vietnam to get our visa renewed. We've got the 1-year tourist visa, which means we need to leave the country every 90 days and come back in. So this time we decided to do the trip by motorbike and explore a little bit more of Vietnam on our way back. So we went to Hue. We just spent 2 days there, 2 nights, and we had a really good experience. We tried a lot of really, really great food. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of how that experience was, and especially focused on how that experience was using my Vietnamese. So it was a full week that we were gone from Da Nang. And I didn't study. I didn't bring any notebooks. We were on motorcycles, so we really tried to pack light. I didn't bring the GoPro or anything. Didn't bring any of my study materials, my flashcards or notebook or anything. But I did get a lot of opportunities to practice while I was there, which was really cool. So I spoke to a lot of people, mostly while we were like trying to order food or trying to figure out the lodging stuff. Just sort of like tried to have more conversations, probably a little bit more than we do in Da Nang, because most of our friends here do speak some English. I will like practice with them a little bit, and I have conversation partners here. But this was a little bit more survival Vietnamese, I guess, because I was trying to communicate with people who didn't speak any English. And it was really cool to, I think it was a little bit of a surprise to people that I spoke some Vietnamese. As I've said before, my pronunciation is not great. At first, I think people struggled to recognize that I was speaking to them in Vietnamese maybe, but once they kind of got that, we were able to interact a little bit, and as we were going to check out like all these small street vendors and stuff, and I was able to kind of ask them some questions about the ingredients, about the food. They were really, really excited because I think Hue is a massively touristic city, but I don't think they encounter a lot of tourists who speak enough Vietnamese or any Vietnamese maybe, because my level is still not that high. It's still really basic, but I can just ask like, "Đây là gì?" Like, what is this? And I can understand. Like, I know a lot of vocabulary for food. So I can, compliment them and tell them the food was really good. And one place we went, the guy was really, really excited. He like offered us beer and cigarettes and stuff, just like a small little like street food stand. But he thought it was pretty hilarious that I spoke Vietnamese to whatever extent, So that was really cool. And I wanted to talk about some of the great dishes that we tried while we were in Hue. These are some of the things that Hue is famous for. You can find them in Da Nang as well, but we had heard that Hue is like a great food city, so we did a little bit of research, and we kind of just did our best to try to avoid the touristy areas and just cruised around on a motorbike and looked at all the little signs and tried to find the food the best we could. And we found some really, really, really great food there. So that was awesome. The first thing that we tried was Bún Thịt Nướng. And that now that we've gotten it there, we've seen it like everywhere in Da Nang. But before, I'd never heard of it. Just found it on this article that talked about the best foods to try in Hue, and it's very similar actually to Thai food in my opinion. Kind of some of the flavors. It's got green papaya in it, and it's got bún, which is just like a thin like rice noodles that are typical in many dishes here, but it's not a soup, so there's no broth. It's a cold dish mixed with that papaya, some peanuts, and then grilled meat. And that was really, really good. We tried it at a couple different spots, and once we found the best place, we kept going back there, and that was really cool too. I was able to speak some Vietnamese with the owner there, and she was just like even after just going back 2 times, she was really like happy to see us, and it was nice to be able to talk to her a little bit. Another problem I kind of encountered is with a few people is that once they saw I spoke some Vietnamese, they started just speaking to me like really fast and full on in like long sentences, and I kind of got that like shock and kind of like just froze, and the conversation sort of like died off a little bit. But that was really cool. It was cool to be able to have that kind of interaction. And I think especially in a place where people get so much tourism, I think they can kind of get like a little shut off to it. And we did have quite a few experiences there where people were, they saw we were foreigners and they immediately just wanted to hike up the prices. So it's nice to also just have a little experience in the country, kind of know what things should cost. Of course, it's going to vary city to city, but I think that we were able to kind of like fend for ourselves a little bit better than we were when we first got here. The next dish that we tried was, of course, the famous Bún Bò. Again, we've seen it all over Da Nang, even before people told us to try it. But we're like, it's just bún, but with beef in it instead of, like, we usually get Bún Chả Cá, which is little fish cakes with that same noodle in a broth. And we really like that. So we're like, we don't want to try it necessarily. We mix up our our regular spots here. But we did try it in Hue. It wasn't what I had read about, which was that it's really different from like pho, because this is like, the food of the king. So it's much more complex. It has the pork, like the pig's foot in it, and some blood sausage and like a beef cake thing I had read. But when we got it and we just kind of went to a random place on the street that just kind of looked busy with a bunch of locals, so we went and checked it out, and what we got was just basically pho with bún noodles instead of the pho noodles. It was okay. It was nothing like super spectacular or super different from different things we've been eating already, but I would like to try maybe a more like legit place that has like all those other ingredients. So we'll see, maybe at some point in our time here. Another thing we checked out there, well, 3 things I should say that all kind of like go together, and Da Nang has a lot of places that sell these things too, but bun lok is one of them. Bun bot lok, and they're sort of little tapioca dumplings that come wrapped in a banana leaf. The ones that we had little tiny dried shrimp in them, which is not my favorite. But the texture of it was really, really good. The like sticky tapioca, that was really nice. And then bun nam, sort of similar but more like flat and more like a roll, or kind of like just the shape is a little bit different, but also is tapioca. And that one had just like the little sprinkles of shrimp, not the full-on pieces, which I like better. I don't really like the texture of like the tiny little dried shrimp. And then at that same place, we tried bánh ướt, which is the same rice, the same basically product as pho or bún, but just not cut into noodles, so it's just still in that flat sheet, and then they cut it into smaller pieces. You can go to the market here in Da Nang and just tell them how you want it cut, basically. And bánh ướt is that, just the little sheet, and then some stuff wrapped in it. I think that the famous thing from Hue is Bún Thịt Nướng. So it's with that like grilled meat in it. But the one that we had just the little shrimp flakes in it. And that was okay. I think a lot of the things that we try here are like, it's sort of a variation of the same theme. So like really similar ingredients, but kind of in a slight variation. So that was nothing like out of this world, but it was pretty good. Then we tried Bánh Khoai. Bánh Khoai, which is similar to bánh xèo, which Da Nang is famous for, but it's actually a different ingredient. So bánh xèo is the egg, is the pancake part, and then it has the toppings on top of it. Whereas Bánh Khoai, I believe it's made out of flour instead. Khoai is potato, like sweet potato, but it's not made out of sweet potato from my understanding. And it can have any toppings on it. So I got the pork. Yeah, I just got regular pork, and then my husband got squid. They were both really, really good. The texture of that was awesome. It was like very crispy and really, really flavorful. You kind of break the little pancake apart, and then you put it in a bowl and drizzle some fish sauce over it and put the greens, like little microgreens inside of it, and eat it that way. And that was really, really good. And then the best thing we had, our very favorite, and I'm not even sure if it's really like typical Hue. This was sort of off of our like planned scavenger hunt of things we were searching for while we were there. But we tried these little balls. My friend here said they're just like bánh bao chín, like fried bánh bao. But the ingredients inside are different. Like the filling part is very different. It had like chung cút chín, like a deep fried quail egg inside of it, and then tofu and vegetables, and then the whole thing is like battered and deep fried. So not great for you, but they were so delicious, and the chili sauce it came with was really, really good too. It wasn't like the typical chili sauce here that has a lot of sugar in it. It was a little spicier and actually had like the chili paste in it, and it was really, really good. So we went and visited the Citadel while we were there. Also got to spend a little bit of time exploring the city, and overall, we really, really liked Hue, and we hope we get to return sometime. And it was nice also to sort of put my Vietnamese to the test and be able to entertain the vendors there, the street vendors, with a little bit of Vietnamese that I've learned. So that was really cool. And I think it really changes the quality of the trip, I think. I think it would have been a different experience without being able to have done that. So that was pretty cool. I guess it's time, now that we're back in Da Nang, time to get studying again. You do the same, and I will see you guys back here next time. Tạm biệt.